News when you want it with Bloomberg News Now. I'm Monica Rix. And that's your closing bell on Wall Street. Stocks ended the day mixed thanks to a sell-off in high-flying chip makers that drove stocks lower after inflation data showed the impacts of the war in Iran. The Dow added 56 points, up just 0.1%. The Nasdaq lost 0.7%. It was down 185 points. And the S&P was also down, losing 11 points, about 0.1%. 10-year Treasury yields at 4.4%. The 2-year yields at 3.9%. Oil also climbed 3.5%, with Brent crude trading at about $108 a barrel. WTI is at 102. U.S. inflation did jump to its highest level in 3 years today, with the consumer price index up 3.8% from a year earlier, and core CPI, which excludes food and energy, up 2.8% from a year ago. That increased 0.4% in the last month. Bloomberg economist Stuart Paul.
Today's data point should not be the largest reason of concern. Instead, take today's data with a little bit of grain of salt and just focus on the trend, which is just hot inflation and policies that push prices up.
That's Bloomberg's Stuart Paul. JP Morgan Chase CEO Jamie Dimon also weighed in on the market today from Paris.
I think there's a little bit too much exuberance out there. It's not just the Middle East. It's, Ukraine, Russia still there, America, China. There are a lot of these complex issues which may or may not affect the market. But then there are issues like inflation. Today's print wasn't so good. So, I think the market's kind of exuberant and may not be completely justified.
Dimon tells Bloomberg corporate profits are doing very well, but he stopped short of predicting whether the next earnings season will be as good as this one due to impacts from the war in Iran and inflation. On his way to Beijing, President Trump talked about FDA Commissioner Marty Makary, who's resigning now after reportedly butting heads with pharma CEOs, vaping lobbyists, and anti-abortion groups.
Marty's a great guy. He's a friend of mine. He's a wonderful man, and he's going to be off. And the assistant, the deputy, is taking over temporarily until we find. Everybody wants that job. It's a very important job. Marty's a terrific guy, but he's going to go on and he's going to lead a good life.
Kyle Diamantis will step in as acting FDA commissioner. Kevin Warsh now one step closer to leading the Federal Reserve. He was confirmed to the Fed's Board of Governors today, paving the way for his confirmation to succeed Jerome Powell. That vote's expected tomorrow. The cost of the war in Iran has now skyrocketed to $29 billion. Pentagon Comptroller Jay Hurst upgraded that estimate today on Capitol Hill.
So at the time of testimony in front of the House, it was $25 billion. But the Joint Staff team and the Comptroller team are constantly looking at that estimate. And so now we think it's closer to 29. That's because of updated repair and replacement of equipment costs, and also just general operational costs to keep people in theater. Defense
Secretary Pete Hegseth also answered questions from Democrats and Republicans while defending the Pentagon's $1.5 trillion budget request. Meantime, satellite images compiled by Bloomberg now show that oil shipments have seemingly stalled over the last few days from Harg Island. That's Iran's main export terminal. Iran has loaded cargoes at the facility throughout this conflict, but if the port remains idle, experts say it would increase the pressure on the country's remaining storage facilities. Tehran's already curbed some output, but depending on how much space it has left, it could be forced to make deeper production cuts. eBay rallied to end the trading day, up 2.1% after rejecting GameStop's $56 billion takeover offer today. The company's board describing the bid as neither credible nor attractive. We get more on that from Bloomberg Tech co-host Caroline Hyde.
They're pushing back on mainly the source of funding. You have to maintain investment grade. That is highly unlikely, according to Bloomberg reporting and analysis, that you would ever be able to do such a buyout of a company that is a quarter of the value of eBay, brings in a quarter of the revenues than eBay, to afford that amount of $56 billion offer. No wonder they're worried about the leverage, about the governance of this company. That's really what's being articulated in this letter. So they're pushing back. And we know this has already gone hostile in many ways.
Bloomberg's Caroline Hyde on Bloomberg Open Interest. Shares of GameStop fell 3.5% today. The Wall Street Journal reports Google is in talks with SpaceX for a rocket launch deal that would expand efforts to put data centers in space. SpaceX CEO Elon Musk has said that's the next frontier for his rocket company, and he's been pitching that to investors ahead of its planned public listing this summer. It's anticipated to be the largest IPO of all time. That's news when you want it with Bloomberg News Now. I'm Monica Rix, and this is Bloomberg.